Have you ever felt powerless around chocolate or your phone or that takeout curry? You're not alone. Let's dive into dopamine, your brain's reward molecule, and let's see how it's both a friend and an enemy. So, what is dopamine? Well, dopamine is a neurotransmitter. That's one of the brain's chemical messengers, and it's produced in the midbrain area, and its evolutionary purpose was to motivate us to seek food, water, and a partner. And in fact, all of the survival essentials that we would need when the world was a different place. Now we have no end of food abundance and pleasure by the bucket load. So, how does dopamine work? Well, you anticipate a reward, dopamine surges, you take an action. The reward arrives, dopamine spikes again, and the brain registers that process, and the learning happens. So essentially, a simple loop has been created: cue, craving, response, reward. So let's look at the ways in which dopamine in the modern world can work against us. And of course, the first one has to be ultra processed foods. These are easy to get hold of, they're hyper palatable foods that trigger dopamine as strongly as nicotine and alcohol. And remember, ultra processed foods have been designed to hijack our reward circuits so that we crave more, and ultimately we do lose control around food. And the problem is that over time the brain will adapt. So the more we consume these foods, the more that the dopamine signals will dull in response to the continued trigger, resulting in us needing more of the food to feel the same response. And that's also true of alcohol and nicotine. So when we think of any addictive behaviors, social media, gambling, procrastination, ultra-processed foods, they all hit the same dopamine loop. Instant gratification, habit forming, counterproductive cycles. We can make it so that we can turn dopamine to our advantage, and we can have healthy, positive dopamine habits. Good sleep and circadian rhythm. So, dopamine helps to regulate our 24-hour cycles. Getting morning sunlight exposure boosts dopamine and sets our melatonin timer for better sleep. Physical movement and exercise boosts dopamine naturally, and it reinforces healthy motivation, resulting in more movement. Sunlight and natural light. So, morning light helps mood and alertness, and evening light helps to balance and aid better sleep. Listening to music and practicing mindful techniques are proven boosters of dopamine. And having that social connection, having love and support from family and friends also helps to boost dopamine and a feeling of well-being. And of course, real food and having a balanced diet, prioritizing protein, getting those essential micronutrients. So, how can we intentionally create a link between a behavior or action we want to do more of and that dopamine production? So, for instance, when we're in the supermarket, when we're choosing foods that we know are going to support our health and weight loss outcomes, when we're choosing those foods, if we're saying to ourselves, do you know what, that was a really smart choice, I feel good about that, or that's exactly the kind of meal that my body thrives on. So think about choosing a healthy action and then linking it to a positive thought. And when you do that, you are teaching your brain to want more of that behavior. And when you repeat that, when you do that regularly, you will be forming a new habit. So real food, morning sunlight, movement, music, and learning something new, they are all going to give you a dopamine hit. And even self-praise, saying to yourself, well done, after a good choice will trigger dopamine. So self-praise really works. And you can do that to support your health and weight loss journey. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and follow me for more health and lifestyle tips.